Hello, hello. And let everybody get into the room. Hello, hello, hello. Y'all slowly getting in here. There must be other people. I try to go live when other people aren't, but you know how that goes sometimes. Hello, hello, hello. Let everybody get in the room. All right, so if you don't know, tomorrow we will be holding the workshop, Unlocking the Male Mind. Today is the final day to get it at that price. Once the workshop posts, it will go up. Right now, you can get the 5% discount on it. We've been talking a lot about male hormones, the male brain. We haven't gotten into decoding the body language of a man because I am going to save that for Unlocking the Male Mind. So if you got an email from me today, it had the wrong date on it. We will be holding the workshop tomorrow. Don't worry, you will not miss anything. It will be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over Zoom. So what I want to do here is just do a quick little Q&A. So if you have questions you want to ask me about men or about the workshop, you can go ahead and ask it and drop it down below. If I don't have anyone who have any questions, I'm going to end this live stream pretty early on because I've been going live all week long, just about. Well, it feels like it. But I've done a lot of content this week regarding men, more than I've ever done my entire time being on social media. So hello everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well this Saturday. But if you have questions about men or about the workshop, or you have questions about previous content that I've posted and you want to know my opinion, this is the perfect time to drop it down below. I am preparing, like when I tell you I have so much information, content that is going to come just from this workshop alone, just from me. And when you buy something from me, it's a growing program, which means I always add more content to it over time. So even if you looked at the previous videos in that workshop, there's probably some more videos available for you. Even if you were to purchase right now, there's 4 videos available to you before the workshop even posts tomorrow. Even before we even have our workshop tomorrow, which is going to be live over Zoom. And you should have gotten your email by now and your invitation to the workshop for tomorrow. And if you haven't, please make sure you DM me or email me because I want to make sure that you have, secure your spot before I close the link down. So if you still want to get into Unlocking the Male Mind, you can click the link in the bio. It's the first link in the top of my bio. And go ahead and get that discount before I close it down. This evening, by the end of the day, it's going to be closed down. And it's going to be a higher price by tomorrow because the workshop will post. So if we don't have any questions, because I know yesterday when I was doing my live stream about the male's brain being a rewards center, we kind of ended the live abruptly. And when I got back, I don't think some of the people that was on that live got a chance to ask any questions. So I'm going to give the opportunity to everyone. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them down below. Hey, Nappy Susie. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them down below. This is just a quick Q&A. Usually I do my Q&As from my stories. But today I thought, why not go live and do Q&As? And you can ask anything that you want to ask. If you want to talk about men, if you have a question about any of the previous content that I've posted before, this is the best opportunity to do so. Right now, we have a thunderstorm happening. So I know I'm not going to be live long. And especially if there aren't any questions, I'll end the live stream pretty early on. But if you have already signed up to attend the Unlocking the Male Mindset or the Male Mind Workshop, you should receive the email giving you access. And it will be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over Zoom. I was looking over all of the content, all of the information that I want to present in Unlocking the Male Mind. And I was like, why not go live and have a quick Q&A session with my girls? If you want to ask a question about anything, this is the perfect time to ask it. Because usually when I go live, I have a topic that I want to stay on And I'm focused on that topic. I'm focused on talking about that topic. Today, I'm more along the lines, hey, you have a question, if it's about men, if it's about feminine energy, it's about feminine communication, or it's about a situation that you're currently in. This is a perfect opportunity to ask the question and get me live, because normally I don't do one-on-ones. I only do one-on-ones with my inner circle members. And since I know that there's a lag between me and you as far as the internet, I'm going to give you some time to drop that question so that we can move forward. But one of the interesting things that came up when I was doing the notes that I create for unlocking the male mind, I started realizing that the things that men value, there's a true connection between their hormones and the way that their brains operate. Most women don't realize or understand why men require respect. We think that they require respect because of it's just something that is known or something that is done. We don't realize the reason that men require respect and actually value respect more than love is due to the social conditioning of society and stereotypes that men have to deal with. Men require respect and value it more because among their peers, it is more valuable. And doesn't mean that men don't like love or don't want to be in love or don't have the capacity or capability of love like we've been talking. We've talked about the capacity of love also. And that video is also in Unlocking the Male Mind. And the more that I started digging deeper and writing my notes so that I can break down feminine communication, activating the male's reward system or center, whichever one I refer to it either way, I realized that all of these things have a connection back to the way that their male psyche, brain, and hormones are set up. Some of the things we think are just is, we don't understand why it is. And that why is so important because the more that you understand a person, the more empathetic you can be. When you don't understand males or men, it's harder to be empathetic. Because I realize most women look at men as though that they are women just with beards. And men are absolutely different. Their brains operate different. Their bodies operate differently. Their hormones operate differently. Even the hormones that come into play for men to fall in love are different from what the hormones are for women to fall in love. This is the reason why sex doesn't work for men to fall in love. Because during sex, we emit oxytocin, and that is the bonding hormone. But when we emit that bonding hormone, what happens for men is that they block it. They block the bonding hormone. And it takes time for that hormone to be replaced with more bonding hormones. And that's the reason why we've been talking about lately, the timeline for love for men. And it's not what you think it is. There is no such thing as love at first sight because it's not possible for the male to fall in love at first sight. Now, he can have strong interest or infatuation. It takes years for the hormones to align and to get the correct hormones to bond because his body is absolutely working against him bonding with one woman for a very long time, up to 4 years. And we're going to go in detail in Unlocking the Male Mind. If you've been watching all the videos I've been doing so far, you've heard this already. You've heard me mention the 4-year mark, the time that men are showing that they fall in love. And that's because some of the hormones have to be replaced from dopamine, the happy hormone, to hormones that bond and create attachment. And science is so interesting when you absolutely understand it. The more that you understand men, the more that you can create relationship with them and deep intimacy. But a lot of information that's on social media is not correct about how men operate. Hello, Braille. Where can I get access to yesterday's live? I came in late. All of the lives that I've been doing about men are in Unlocking the Male Mind. The live yesterday, when I talked about the male's brain being a reward center, that is in Unlocking the Male Mind. And if you click the link there's absolutely a discount available. It will not be available tomorrow. Tomorrow, the price on that program will raise because I'm putting so much valuable information. I'm literally teaching you how to activate his reward center. I'm going to teach you how to create new neural pathways and connections with this man so you can have a better relationship with men. The more that you understand them, the more that you can deepen the intimacy with them. The information that you see on social media about men isn't correct because it doesn't even align with any type of science out there. And not only is it science, I add in personal experience. Because some of you don't know, I am a married woman, have been for 23 years. Is it also in an inner circle? Yes. It is. Right now it's processing. It's taking a longer time for it to be open in an inner circle. But as soon as the program finishes processing, it will be available in inner circle. If you're an inner circle member, you do not buy workshops, okay? Because workshops will be included in your membership. All you have to do, either you can attend the workshop or you can wait on the replay. But you don't ever have to worry about a workshop when it comes to being an inner circle member. You get all of the live streams for Instagram too. The ones that I never post that you never see again, they're in the inner circle. So if you want access to all of my live streams, and I've been breaking this down, I don't even know what day I started, but I've been talking about men's capacity to love because there's stages to men's love. And I've not heard too many women talking about it. I've heard women talking about how to use certain hormones to get a man to fall in love and have to attach to you and bond, but they don't talk about the stages that must appear. And one of the things that no one talks about is that only way that you can skip to like attachment phase, it is usually through an arranged marriage. That is where they have shown that people are able to skip all of the phases of love for men and get straight to the attachment phase. So we're going to break that. I'm going to give you a timeline from the very meeting of a man. And then I'm also, if you go into unlocking the male mind, I teach you about the capacity to love. And there are men out here, it don't matter what you do for them. They don't have the capacity to love you. And there are men out here that only will stay at 80% ability to even give you or capability of love. And you have to recognize the signs and realize who you cannot go all the way in with and who you can. So all of those videos are processing right now in the inner circle. And you should have access to them soon. Hopefully, I'll check after this live stream to see if they are available so that I can make sure my inner circle members are taken care of. But you can also become an inner circle member where you can get access to all of the Instagram live streams. And there are two sectors. It's gems and jewels. Both of those sectors have different services. It's only one of them allows you like a meeting with me. Another question, please. Can you summarize yesterday's live so I have full picture before the workshop? Yes. I try to do a quick summary because I think that video is like an hour long. It's always hard to summarize all of that information in one sit down. But yesterday's live stream was about activating the male's reward system. Realize when you understand the male's brain that it operates off of rewards, and the more that they are under the influence of dopamine and happy hormones, they are easier to customize and easier to work with and easy to get along with. In order to do that, and this is something I'm going to go even in further detail in the workshop, is I'm going to break down. In that video, I actually gave you an example of how to use and activate the male reward system. Because since men like that dopamine, that happy hormone, you can utilize and activate that reward center in him for him to seek you and realize that there's a reward coming. And since he wants that reward, it operates on automatic. And then he just gives you those things without you constantly asking him to do things. Like these little things that you all talk about on social media, I do not experience. I do not talk about him washing the dish or washing his clothing or picking up after himself. All of those things have been created through the process that I taught yesterday through activating the male's reward system. Most people don't like the word customized, but I think that's the best word to think. If you think about wives or women in long-term relationships, they always talk about how their man is customized for them. They did that by building neural connections and learning experiences over time. I just teach you a better way of doing it, so you basically a shortcut so that you can activate within him that automation. So it's no longer you shouldn't be going over the same thing with a man over and over and over. You shouldn't. I know on social media, you hear the same conversation being had over and over again, where they're still having conversations about, oh, he won't pick up after himself. Oh, he won't take out the trash. Oh, he won't cook for himself. Oh, he's just handicapped. He's like another child. I don't experience that. And that is because when you understand men and that they operate from reward, you don't withhold appreciation. You don't withhold compliments. You don't withhold intimacy. You learn how to utilize these things and activate the reward center in him. And I taught a way yesterday in how to do that step by step. And I put it on social media briefly because it's not meant to be on social media. The thing is, we have to understand that our secrets are supposed to be our secrets. We're not supposed to be spreading all over social media. I have no desire for clout or fame. So I have no desire to spread it and have it everywhere. So that's the reason why it is behind a paid wall. But I taught you how to speak to him, because you have to speak to him. The language is needed in order to activate that reward system. So first of all, you always want to stick to using I need. Like always go with either I need or I feel, because we have to utilize feminine communication. Remember, feminine communication isn't just I feel or I need. There's undertones of feminine communication. This means being able to read the body language, good listening skills, empathy. If you don't have any empathy, you're just trying to get something done or something you want from him, the communication will fall flat. And this is how you want to get started to be able to activate that reward center. So first, babe, I need the dishes done. It will really help me to have those dishes done because I'm really tired. Okay, we started there. I told him what I needed. I told him what it would provide for me, because that's very important. And then once he does or completes the task, this is where I activate the reward system. I am either going to give him intimacy, not sex. Understand what intimacy is. Intimacy is cuddling. It could be hand holding. It could be a kiss on the cheek. It could be a touch. Understand what intimacy is. Don't try to utilize sex in order to activate the reward center. Most women are not pros at this yet. And I will always say, don't do it until you're in the attachment phase. Okay? And you may have to do it more than once, by the way. So you may have to do it more than once. After a while, after probably like the second time, it's going to become automated. And what you're doing, you're creating new neural pathways. And this is new learning experiences that will be on automation. So now when he sees you, he knows if I wash the dishes, I am going to get the reward. I'm going to get those happy dopamines. And I'm going to get that good feeling. Men love being under the influence of that dopamine, those happy feelings. This is the reason why, and I talked about this yesterday, this is the reason why you're going to find that there are more addicts are men, more men deal or can get addicted to drugs very fast, or sex, or anything harmful, because if it feels good, that's under the influence, and that gives them that dopamine hit. And since their brains, their brains don't work like our brains. Like, of course, we have a reward center also, but we're not as sensitive or under the influence as much as they are. We don't get addicted to that level. So that was what we did yesterday. We did examples in how to activate the male brain and the reward center. I have a question about a scenario with the gentleman I'm speaking to. He tends to communicate via text the most. I told him I prefer phone calls 3 times. Immediately after I mentioned calls, he'll call. Okay? So, but then he reverts back text messages. Okay? So, guess what happens? 9 out of 10, if he's getting the reward, why would he absolutely follow any other instructions? Because if he's getting a reward, regardless if he follows or does the things that you want, there's no reason for him to fulfill what you want him to do anyway. So if he is not answering, or you don't want to, if he goes back to text him and you just want him to call, then when he texts, don't answer. Only reward him when he calls. Let him know, oh, I really appreciate when you call. I love to hear the sound of your voice. Activating his reward center. So now he's going to want to call you more because it gives him those happy dopamine hormones, and he's going to feel good about calling you. So that's what I would suggest you do. We talked about this yesterday, about how since they operate from the reward, from collecting points, that you just don't give them the reward. See, women make the big mistake of giving them the reward, regardless if their needs are fulfilled. And if you are trying to activate the reward center, you're confusing the center, because he's like, what reward? I'm getting fulfilled regardless if I follow through or not. Women have to absolutely pull back the reward. Don't give them the reward. You don't have to be nasty. Remember, we're still operating in our feminine energy. We still are operating in feminine communication. You don't have to be nasty. You still can be empathetic, but you still don't give the reward when the reward isn't due. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, do you have any other questions? Because if we don't have questions, I'm gonna get off here. It's Saturday. I could be up here. I could be cuddling with my husband and having a good time this Saturday. But I decided I want to pop in and do a quick Q&A and have a conversation. But that's what we've been talking about. Trust me, the workshop tomorrow is going to be worth every penny. And you never lose money when you work with me anyway, because you're going to always get new content, because I update my programs. I can't say daily, but I can say within a couple of months, normally there's a new video. So we've been talking about the male hormones, the male brain. I don't think we've jumped into the body language or anything, because I kind of want to save that for the workshop, because there's a lot that goes into body language. I'm going to teach body language from the collective perspective. Okay, the collective perspective. But I'm always going to encourage women. Let me tell you, one of the best things you're going to ever need, the best thing you need to know when it comes to a man, always get to know him on an individual level. The individual level is priceless. Observing his own cues and tics is going to be priceless for you. Knowing your man is going to be priceless. So make sure you get to know him, observe him. The more that you get to know him, the more insight that you will have with him, and the more intimacy you will develop. I know that out on social media, right? And I hate that for women. I hate that on social media they encourage this dividement between men and women, and the gender war that we have going on currently between men and women. This is not helping us get into the intimacy and love that we desire, or the respect that men desire. So hopefully one day we can actually start moving in the right direction, where women are understanding men and men are understanding women. Because honestly, when it comes to women, women are more complicated. Women are more complicated, and that's because women operate from the left and the right hemisphere of their brains. A lot of the things that we know about men and women isn't correct. Because one of the things that's out here on social media is floating around is that women are super emotional. Women are only emotional with care and consideration. But overall, women's brains are set up to be more logical, because we operate from the left and the right hemisphere. Men operate from the left hemisphere and more localized parts of their brains. So men have this capacity for deep emotion. That the thing is, what happens is society socializes women to be more emotional and men to be more stoic. And the more that happens, I think this creates a issue with not only is it divisive, since we don't truly have an understanding of men and women anyway, it makes it harder for us to actually connect and create that deep intimacy that majority of women seek. Best investment ever. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just showing, would that be saved to watch later? This video may be saved to watch later. I might post the entire video for this one, because this is just a Q&A, like a really laid back conversation that we're having, versus the other conversations that we've been having lately about the male hormones, the male brain, the male psyche. Those things are behind a paid wall in unlocking the male mind. But like I said, the best advice I can give any woman is to learn her man. I can teach you from the collective perspective. I can teach you about how men operate in a collective mindset, but I can't teach you how your man works. That's what for you to do. That's the reason why it's so important that you become very observant, that you have real conversation, and you learn how to communicate with him and really listen. Really develop active listening skills to listen, to understand versus respond and react. What to do if he starts acting different, like more distant? What is the reason for that? Let me ask you a question. How long have y'all been together? How long have y'all been together? Because most of us don't realize, if you've been, and that's the reason why women really need to learn the real timeline for men falling in love. Not the timeline that you see on social media, because men start acting distant because at some point the hormone for attraction starts to drop and the hormone for bonding starts to rise. So you may be in a phase where it's time to attach and bond, and you should be seeking like more intimacy, more cuddle time, more communication, more times of vulnerability. It just depends how long y'all been together. If it's just in the very beginning? If it's the very beginning, absolutely not. That's not even possible for them to start acting distant and different in the very beginning, especially as long as they hold attraction for you. I talked about this also too in the other videos, where if in the very beginning your man is distant and he's pulling away from you, it's too soon. It's too soon. You got a problem. You got a problem. Because this means maybe he is distracted, or maybe he is losing interest. Because in the very beginning, when there is attraction, there's certain things that happen. One, the hormones rise to keep, encouraging that attraction, and his tone tends to soften. He tends to be more gentle. He also tends to be more focused on you. So if you start to see that go away, and guess how long that phase lasts? I want someone to guess in the comments. How long do you think that phase lasts of attraction for a man in that stage of love? Like, take a wild guess at it. I haven't even given this out in the other two videos, because I told you I was going to complete the timeline. 2 years. Absolutely. You right on the money. So you must know the science too. It is 2 years. So it's too early if he starts to pull away and get very distant. Now, I'm not going to say, that's the reason why I say know your man, because he could be very stressed out, because men withdraw when they're stressed out. They go into their man caves. They go into their brotherhood. They go into escapism. If he's stressed out, it may not be nothing but him processing the stress. Let him do it. Let him do it. Don't take it as a slight. Women are so present and engaged that if a man pulls away at any point, any time, they start to feel like there's something wrong with the relationship. Now, if he's stressed, then take that in the mind like he's stressed. Let him process that stress, because it does take 2 years. Absolutely correct. It takes 2 years during that lust and attraction phase. Well, not lust, the attraction phase, because there's another phase before attraction. And like I said, I'm going to break all of that down in Unlocking the Male Mind, because it's absolutely needed information. I think if I'd have known the information when I was younger, I would have expected certain things differently from my husband. I would have looked at like we should have been in this stage when we weren't ready for it yet. That's the reason why I say it's so easy to get caught up in a relationship, but not really understand him. And women have to get out of this mentality that men are nothing but women with beards. They aren't women. And women take longer, by the way. Women take longer than men to fall in love, by the way. Okay, so when women talk about they believe in love at first sight, no, it doesn't happen for us like that either. we are twice as long as a man to fall in love. So that is just his timeline, not ours. Ours is twice, double it by 2. And then you get our timeline. And I already know why it takes us so long, though. It takes us so long because he's putting in the focus and the investment. And we tend to be sitting back, kind of observing him, getting to know him, vetting him. I'm talking about healthy women now. I'm not talking about women who jump all in and don't know the man. This is the reason why it takes women so long to really be invested in head over heels in love, because we take our time and we observe and we vet and we make sure that we're going to be we're going to be good together, have compatibility. So it takes that long for us to fall in love. So everything that you see for a man, times it by 2 for the timeline. Three to 6 months. 3 to 6 months is for the lust phase. Well, actually, 6 months is the lust phase. Like, they never used to say no to me and give me a lot of importance, but now it's different. He says no more and don't take me so seriously anymore. Like, I don't get the type of attention I used to get beforehand. Okay, so, are y'all together 2 years? Okay, so y'all together 2 years. Are you saying 2 years? That's how long y'all been together? Okay, because I was thinking about that is during the attachment phase right here. That's the reason I said look and see and observe. See if there's been any changes going on. Is he at a very stressful job? Is he having a lot of family conflict? Observation is going to be your best friend for you see, because there's a lot of things that could be going on while he's dissing. It could be because he's under stress. It could be because he's building something or creating something. It could be also that he's losing interest. And you'll know that usually if the losing interest part, if he's pulling away, even in his body language, that's how you're going to know he's losing interest. You won't know a man is losing interest via sex. Because see, men can literally lose interest and still have sex with you. But you can pay attention to his body language. What I want you to do, this is what I suggest you do. Look at how he is leaning towards you. When you're in the same room, I want you to stop paying so much attention to the conversation or the language or the communication. Pay attention to his body language. Pay attention to, is his body always coming towards you? Pay attention to is when he's around you, is he trying to take up space? Because see, the thing is, losing interest, and this is something I was going to say for unlocking the male mind. She just happens to ask the right question. See, there's a reason why I told you to drop your questions. Pay attention to his body language, because his body will tell him before his actions do. And if he's losing interest, then you have options. You can start to not just have conversations, because asking a man, is he losing interest, is not a good way to start a conversation. But you can start paying more attention to him, and you can start upping the feminine energy in the relationship. And you can start being more interested in the things that he's doing. If you want him to gain interest, you want everything back that you've lost. But pay attention to his body language. His body will tell you that he's lost interest before his brain, his mind, or anything will. Because men who have lost interest, they tend to pull away their bodies first, which means instead of when they're sitting near you, most times you look at men, either a man is mirroring you, like he's sitting like you're sitting, or he's turned towards you. If every time y'all are sitting down somewhere, he sits further away from you, or he puts something in between you and him, that's his body language telling you, hey, he's losing interest, or something's going on. I don't know the full depth of what's going on in your relationship. So I can only, give you some of the ideas of what may be going on. How to create space until they show up correctly in a way that doesn't turn them off or chase them off. Okay. What do you mean? Creating space so it doesn't, so you mean creating a boundary? Because that's what it sounds like, creating boundaries. Because you don't want space. You don't want them to feel as though that you're over here and I'm over here. Like, men want to create that connection. I know we have this idea that men don't want connection, they don't want love, they don't want to have deep feelings for a woman, and that's not true. They absolutely desire it. So I would say boundaries. Just create boundaries. That boundaries won't chase off a man. Actually, boundaries encourage a man to pursue more. Because I don't think you really mean space. I think you mean more the boundaries. Have certain boundaries into place. And men absolutely love boundaries when it comes to women. It may seem like they don't, but they do. How to make him invest in us? Well, like, I don't know what to tell him to do sometimes. What do you mean? What are you trying to get him to do? How to get his interest back? I think I answered that one. But I'm going to say get his interest back. Are y'all married? Are y'all married? Married, what is the relationship status of this relationship? Is it married, single, dating with benefits, situationships? What is it? I have to know what it is before I can tell you what to do. I need more information, basically. If you want more from him, this is where feminine energy comes into play. And learning the language of feminine energy and feminine communication. Learning that language is not just learning certain things to say. That's the issue that I have when I hear women teach that. They don't teach you that you have to, in order to have great feminine communication, you have to have great listening skills. You have to be empathetic. You have to be able to pick up on verbal cues. You have to be vulnerable. And not yet. So y'all been dating for 2 years. Why hasn't he proposed? Or are you not interested in marriage? Because 2 years is long enough for this man to get on one knee and give you a ring. And if after 2 years he's pulling away or he's lost interest, are y'all living together? Y'all living together? Or y'all just, like you said, dating? But I know this generation, it means so many different things. For dating, for me, would mean we in separate houses. But dating for some people, this generation now, it's like we're dating, but we live together. So I need to know, what are y'all living status too? Are y'all together in one home? And if you're trying to get his interest back, you know what? I think it'd probably be better off for you to become a member. Because it's so much easier to help you to have all the information to what's going on. Because one of the things I would tell you to do, if you've been dating a man for 2 years and he ain't got on one knee, I would start dating other men. Unless you don't care for marriage. If you don't care for marriage, it's not a priority for you, and you don't want to get married, then it doesn't matter. And the only thing you want to do is continue to seek out his interest. Then you need up your feminine energy. Feminine energy is what you're going to need to do. But that's going to be more the things that you do for yourself and not the things that you do for him. Not living together yet. Don't live with him. Trust me. One of the things women need to learn, do not live with a man if you want to get married. If that's a priority for you, do not live with him. But if you don't care and it's not something of interest for you, let it be. And y'all are long distance. Okay, so y'all have, he's already put something in between you and him. Is living in separate places. And he has it after 2 years said, hey, let's figure out how we can actually be in the same area. And you want to get this, you want to get him back. Are you sure that this is worth it? Like, I want to make sure, are you sure this is worth it? Because he already has something in between you and him. And that's distance. Usually a man that is more interested in 2 years is actually, you're right at that mark, sounds like, for him to be in that attraction phase. But then he's pulling away. He's losing interest. And 9 out of 10, if y'all are long distance, he's losing interest. He probably is talking to another woman. And you have really no way of actually confirming that unless you have someone in that area. 9 out of 10, long distance, 2 years, he's probably talking to another woman. Another woman holds his interest. And only thing you can do is to up the feminine energy and feminine communication. Like, because y'all are not in the same area. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I try not to lie to anyone that I'm talking to or having a conversation with. I'm just gonna tell you, I truly do believe, since he's lost interest after the 2 years and y'all are still long distance, and he hasn't tried to eliminate the distance between you and him, he probably has interest in another woman, and that's why he's pulling away. Now, if you want to continue, you have to really think, do I really want to continue to pursue this? And I think you need to think about that. Because yes, you can up the feminine energy and feminine communication, because that's all that you have. You don't have, y'all don't understand, touch goes a long way with men. Like, being able to reach out and put your hands on your man and activate that reward center and those dopamine is so valuable to creating attachment and bonding. But you don't have that option because y'all are not close. It's long distance. And there's a saying, I can't remember the saying, I don't know why I even mentioned it, but like, people tend to forget. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, yeah, you have options of increasing the feminine energy and feminine communication. But a lot of the things I talk about, activating that reward center, only thing you have that you can use is appreciation and telling him that you enjoy the conversation that you have. But that's it. That kind of limits you. And usually when the men are all in, they eliminate all obstacles between you and him. Like, if there's an issue of why he can't talk to you or why he can't see you, men slowly try to remove that object or that issue or that problem. And so if he's keeping 2 years and y'all still got distance in between you two, I feel like he has an interest in another woman. They still want girlfriend access and see you spend time, but aren't doing what you ask gives romance more. But still they want to always see and be near and claiming. Absolutely. They want to do all those things, but that is a reward. They don't get to see have all those things. They don't get access for those things. And since men operate from that reward system, the reward is not as valuable if it's given and it's not earned. Women have to realize it, and there's a reason for that. It goes back to the socialization of men. Men among their peers, men among other men, they have to earn their respect. They have to earn their role and place among men. They don't just get to receive it. So that's where a lot of these ideals come from. It's socialized not only for society, but it's also continued among their peers. That's the reason I say a lot of women, you need to learn about men. Trust me, the upcoming workshop that I'm going to be doing tomorrow is going to be so valuable. Because I allow time for Q&A. But I love him a lot. I know, and I understand, I appreciate that you love him. But he hasn't eliminated the distance between you and him. Like, you should be like, something is wrong here. Because men slowly move all objects and distance between the thing that they want. If they want you, they come get you. He should have been offered for you to move towards him or closer to him, or he moved towards you. And honestly, if he's not offering marriage and you still want to consider it, he would have to move towards me. I would not leave and uplift my life and move all the way to another state for a man just to say, hey, we're going to be closer, or we're going to have like a girlfriend and boyfriend relationship. To me, it's all or nothing. So that's why I'm asking how to create. This is not reward him with my presence. Create boundaries. That's how you do. You create boundaries. And men do respect that. You only reward with the present when they are following through or appreciating your boundaries. As long as he's keeping your boundaries up and he's following through with the things of your boundaries, then you reward him with your presence. As long as it's given freely and there's no boundaries in place, men don't respect it as much. Like I said, and it goes all the way back to the socialization of men and masculinity and the stereotypes. Men respect more of the reward when it's given from a space of they've earned it. Because when men are among their peers, you don't just get reward for showing up. You have to earn your place among men. So you're asking how to create distance, and I'm telling you, you have to create boundaries. Because the reason why I'm not saying create distance, because the more distance and you make yourself unavailable, and the more that and he'll start looking at that as a game, and he'll start to see that or feel that you're not serious. That's reason I said boundaries are more effective than creating like falsehoods or creating distance just to get something to happen. See, I don't operate from a place of manipulation. I operate from a place of this is what he needs and this is what I can give. That's the reason I'm going to continue to say, don't just go in here and create false distance for him to feel like he has to earn your presence. Create boundaries. Put boundaries in place. Boundaries are no more than rules. It could be something as simple. Hey, I prefer to have phone calls before 9. Okay. I'm only going to answer when you call before 9. And as long as he keeps to that, then you continue to accept his phone calls. As soon as he starts calling you at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, then you do not answer the phone. So you're going to create boundaries, not distance, because distance would just repel him. And distance will actually give him the idea that maybe you're not interested, or you're playing a game, or you're trying to manipulate him. Men sense manipulation very quickly. So create boundaries, not distance. What's the example of creating boundaries after already dating and him not showing up, providing, but still showing wanting access and deceit and spend time with me? The boundary would be energetic. If a man is not showing up for me or spending time with me or fulfilling my needs, why would I be answering his phone calls? Why would I be spending time with him? Why would I be doing any of those things if he isn't fulfilling my needs in the first place? So you would just need to create energetic boundaries with yourself, that if a man is not showing up for you and he's not providing, then you don't give him any of your presence, your time, your text, your phone call. You don't give him any of those things that's going to give him that happy dopamine, that happy hormone. Because men are going to want access to women. There's a reason why they gravitate around women. Women offer them the ability to be soft, to be vulnerable, to feel deep emotions, where if they're among a group of men, they don't have that ability. When they're among their peers, you have to be tough. You have to grow a pair. You have to show that you're strong and assertive. Like they have to be somewhat fake with their friends. But women, they have the opportunity to show their true selves. So they're always going to be around women. So men are always going to want access to you. But you have to create boundaries and make sure that you have boundaries of how men can access you, when they can access you, what they have to do to access you. I'm quite sure if he's been rewarded, even when he wasn't acting right and he's been acting up, he's not going to know that there's an issue. Because we as women, we tend to think that they can read our minds and that they're just going to fall in line or they're going to know what the issues are. They don't. I guarantee they don't. So what I would do is I would spend more time, developing myself, devouring information and spend time with myself, going out, enjoying my life. And I would focus on me. And I wouldn't worry about trying to answer someone's calls who isn't fulfilling my needs, or going on a date with someone who isn't, making sure that I'm good. I wouldn't be worried about all that. And you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. He answered calls, brought me food when I was sick, checks on me, but not really providing, gifting on his own or investing on his own. Okay. See, the thing is, if we allow him to coast off of doing one thing right, then we are setting ourselves up for him not providing and investing and taking care of us throughout the rest of the time. Through the rest of the time. So what you're doing, what we do as women, we tend to remember the things that he's done for us, and we allow a man to coast off of it. Just because he answered a phone call and brought you food when you were sick, was he there when you need him? Or did you have to figure it out for yourself? Or did you have to suffer alone? This is what we need to focus on. Like, we as women, and we all do it, we tend to allow men to coast. And they coast off that one thing that they did for us. And we're like, oh, well, he's such a good guy. He brought me lunch. Oh my gosh, he's such a good guy. He returned my phone calls. But is there consistency? Is he consistently making sure that I am good? And if he isn't, he can't coast off that one thing. And you shouldn't allow him to either. And this is all before marriage. Like, this is all before. If this is someone you're considering marriage for, this is not what you want to see. Oh my God, so true. He wants to always see me spend time, but I want him to take leadership and take a provider role without asking. See, the thing is, you're telling me over and over that he is not the man that you want. And see, the thing is, we do not create projects over here. People are not projects, men or women. And see, if he's not even taking or becoming a provider, or he is not being a leader, these are all strong qualities that majority of women want. So it sounds like he's not the man for you. And just to be honest with you, men are not projects, and we do not take on men as projects. And if he doesn't have the qualities that we desire, instead of trying to wake that up in him, why not date another man that does have those qualities? No, he fixes problems, but I don't want to ask. No marriage, just practicing. Okay, yes, you are so right. Yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing about practicing so you can figure out what you want out of life. But we don't want to get in this space where we are trying to make a man a project and help activate certain qualities in him. Some men don't have that. You can't activate some men. Some men are going to be what they are. And that's the reason why I always tell women, don't even go into marriage unless you can accept what he is. It's not worth it. You don't want to be one of these women who are like, oh my gosh, how do I get my man to pay bills? How do I get my man to handle problems? How do I get my man to be a man? I see those questions all the time. And I'm like, he has to have these qualities before you even go any further. Don't open yourself up to any type of relationship with a man who don't have the qualities that you desire. I do date others, but need to leave him. I'm going to tell you do. Because it sounds like it's already too much work to try to activate qualities in a man that do not exist. Practice with a man who's in a provider energy. Absolutely. You'll be better off with men who have that provider energy versus trying to activate it in him. What if he was consistent, but then states that he has been busy with work after disappearing for a week? I gave him space, he came back. Okay. It sounds like you're experiencing other situation I talked about earlier, where another young lady talked about that if he was consistent. Now, explain to me this. If he was consistent, what has he stopped doing when he came back? Like, that's what I need to know. What did he stop doing when he came back? Because if he was busy with work, of course, busy with work does not mean that he doesn't have time to connect with you or talk with you or text you or, spend some time with you. It just means that maybe if he has a lot of stress on him, then men tend to pull away during that time. They tend to want to process the stress, and they tend to want to go to their peers about that stress and, communicate with them and get advice from them about the stress. So if that is the case, fine. But if he comes back after that and he's not consistent with what is he not doing? That's what I mean. What is he not doing when he came back? Because you gave him space and he came back. He should have came back energized and doing the same things he was doing before he left. Not much. He's a construction business owner. I think it was just a communication issue. Okay. What do you mean a communication issue? So he's consistently showing up as a provider. He's consistently showing up and trying to fulfill your needs and connecting with you. Is he doing all those things, or is there something else that I'm missing? Because you say it sounds like it's a communication issue. Like, what does that mean? Hi, bro. Would this live be saved? Yes, I am gonna save it. Yeah. What was the communication issue? Yes, he is, but he just ghosted me for a week after I replied to his text. Okay, like I said, the week is explainable because that may happen in the very beginning when y'all are dating. Of course, a man is not going to disappear for a week when you're married to him, okay? But while you're dating, he is still, men handle stress differently. They tend to go like they man cave, or they tend to participate in escapism, or they tend to actually go among their peers and, discuss their stress. They usually don't bring that stress to women. Like, they try to keep that from us because they like you to be in your being and in your feminine energy, and they don't want to stress you out. So men have this thing where they will try to deal and process their stress away from you. So the week is explainable. As long as we came back, nothing changed. Like, he's still providing, he's still communicating, he's still trying to fulfill my needs, he's still focused on me, he still is there for me in the way that I need him to be. As long as that didn't change, y'all are fine. Remember, men do disappear during that time, like for stress. Now, when they get married, they just usually pick a escapism. When they get married, they usually try to escape to like the man cave or somewhere where they can be alone, or they go out with their boys. They do something once they're married. They just do a little different. They don't disappear for a week. Like, if you have a husband that's disappearing for a week, that's not right. Okay, this makes sense. So how would I reply to him? He just said, good morning. Sorry, I've been busy with work. Nothing else changed. Thank you. Okay. And this is a guy, before I give you a response, this is a guy that you're still interested in. He's doing everything right, other than disappearing, because we can work on the disappearing thing. This is what you can say. This is where feminine energy and feminine communication comes into play. You can be like, good morning, babe. I definitely missed you. I definitely appreciate you reaching out to me. I can't wait for us to spend time together. Feminine communication. And you can actually follow up later on, not in a text message. I suggest that if you want to correct the issue and want him to, like, when he has like stressful things going on, you don't want him to disappear, you're going to have that conversation more face to face. Now, I would just respond in feminine communication, just be light, happy, and that is all. If nothing else is going on that you haven't mentioned, like, long as there's nothing going on where he is disappearing under mysterious circumstances or anything of that nature, then I would go with feminine communication. And I would start activating that male's brain reward center by like, babe, good morning. I'm so happy to hear from you. I appreciate you sending me a text to let me know how you are and what's going on. I can't wait till we can spend some time together. And leave it at that. And then when you meet, this when you can address it. You can be like, babe, I really missed you. I hated that you went away for like a whole week. I really don't like it. It made me feel, and just be honest about it. How did it make you feel when he disappeared for a whole week? It made me feel abandoned. It made me feel abandoned that you went away for a whole week. This is where feminine energy, feminine communication can come into play. And then positive responses, you want to activate his reward center. Okay? So that means either intimacy, touching, kissing, cuddling, hugging, and that's the only thing you need to do. Very simple.